Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on.
Powerful piece you had along the lead-in.
Yeah, it is, and it's very unfortunate that the people in China are not able to observe that, but that's how things are in that country. And that leads us to what we're talking about, the U.S. Chinese tariffs. Problems for Arkansas farmers now compounded by what's going on with flooding. I want to get your take on what's happening there.
Well, I was out touring some of the flood sites late last week, Kevin, especially on Saturday morning in the Elk County Dardanelle, my neck of the woods, where one of the levees breached. Fortunately, the worst fears of flooding the southern half of town have not come to pass. It looks like the waters are beginning to stabilize and even recede a little bit. I know that we still have rising waters from kind of roughly the Conway area on down into southeast Arkansas, but let's hope that the waters don't rise any further, that no more people are displaced, and that they begin to recede, and pray for a couple of weeks of sunny weather without any rain.
Right. The effects on Arkansas agriculture with the tariffs that are going on between the U.S. and China and also the flooding there, is that, you feel like, going to have a devastating effect on Arkansas farming and the Arkansas economy?
Well, Arkansas farmers have already been having a tough season. With so much rain before these floods, a lot of farmers weren't able to get their crops in the ground. Obviously, a lot of farmland has been flooded. Now, the president's disaster declaration last week will help offset some of those losses, because not only does it free up FEMA resources to provide for emergency response, but it also empowers the USDA to take certain steps, like, say, loan assistance for farmers who may not be able to make their loans while their crops and their farmland is underwater. But it's going to be many months to recover. And I want all your listeners to know, especially those listeners in farm country, to know that our office is going to be there with you all along. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another disaster declaration that frees up more federal resources, not only for our farmers, but also for small businesses and even individual homeowners, too.
Senator Tom Cotton, if U.S. policy is wrong concerning China, if you're wrong concerning the tariffs with China, the effects there on Arkansas farming, are you concerned about that? And what are you hearing as you've toured farmland? What are you hearing from the people that are on the front lines of Arkansas agriculture?
Well, China, let's recall, has been waging a trade war against the United States for 30 years. This is not something that just happened in the last 2 years because of the president's decisions to join that war and try to fight it and win it. This latest round of tariffs went in only because China, as it typically does, reneged on the commitments it had made over the course of a year's worth of negotiations. Now, China has indicated over the last few days that they're willing to return to the table and hopefully not try to pocket all those agreements that they had already made and then renegotiate even further. What I would like to see is not only getting our sales back to China where they were for products like, say, soybeans or pork, but actually opening up markets for all the rest of our commodities as well, whether that's rice or beef or what have you. That's the president's ultimate goal. These tariffs are simply a tool to try to reach that goal, and I strongly support that goal, as I know most Arkansas farmers do as well.
As you've got two very powerful economies in a situation here where one is trying to flinch and the other is trying to not flinch, with that, how much longer can Arkansas farmers handle anything as far as their personal economies, especially the smaller farmers?
Well, a lot of Arkansas farmers, as we discussed at the outset, have been fighting a tough season, irrespective of the Chinese market. I mean, if you're a rice farmer, you weren't selling much into China to begin with, but the rains and the late planting season and now the floods have been making it a tough season to begin with. But we want to do everything we can to make sure that in the long term we are providing our farmers and our ranchers and our foresters with the kind of overseas markets that are going to make them viable for years to come. And whether that's a result of short-term tariffs or some of the rainy season we've seen or the flooding, it's something of which I'm very mindful.
Senator, fairly quickly, too, we haven't heard a whole lot more about Iran in the news. What's happening there right now?
About a month ago, we had very serious and credible intelligence that Iran was potentially preparing for attacks on U.S. citizens or troops or facilities in the Middle East or against our allies. So we moved an aircraft carrier, more B-52 bombers, Patriot missile systems, and a few hundred troops into the region, not to take military action against Iran, Kevin, but to deter military action by Iran and to retaliate if necessary. I think the Ayatollahs may have gotten the message. We'll see. But that was the whole point of enhancing our force posture in the Middle East, is to deter the Ayatollahs from making a grave miscalculation by attacking the United States troops or citizens in the region.
Senator Tom Cotton, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.